Welcome back to the Winter Wolf's Den, guys. Winter Wolf here with a quick review on Prey. Came through a couple of weeks ago on Hulu. Gotta recommend you guys check it out. I don't say that often on the channel, so it's nice to be able to cover something I did enjoy. I hope you guys let me know in the comments below if you have seen it already, what you did like about it, what you didn't. A quick rundown. It's a Predator prequel. We get a earlier look at Predator tech level as they show up in pre-United States, and find the Predator coming head-to-head with Naru, a member of Comanche Nation, about 300 years ago, according to IMDb. And it wasn't bad. It had a pretty good pace throughout the first half. They set up Naru as she's kind of building up her skill sets as a not quite perfect from the rip hunter, trying to gain the approval of her mother and brother, who goes on to be the war chief at one point in the movie. He's a very skilled hunter in his own right, does some pretty cool stunt work later on in the film. So yeah, definitely not a Mary Sue out the rip, which, as you guys know from a storytelling perspective, my own personal perspective, I kind of hate that. They show Naru take a couple of good beatings. She definitely makes mistakes along the way. She almost gets herself killed a couple times, and generally has to rely on some wit and will to get herself out of the sticky situations she puts herself in. But she also is bailed out of trouble on a couple of occasions by her brother and his hunting party. So it's once again one of those cases where marketing tried to play up some bullshit message about what this really was, but it really wasn't that until the second half. And there's a kind of a pivotal scene halfway through, after they've gone through the setup and kind of, foreshadowing that there's a bigger threat than grizzly bears and mountain lions out there in the plains and in the woods that Naru's people are gonna have to deal with. They get to a point in the middle of the movie where all of a sudden, for no reason, Naru's older brother and war chief starts pumping her tires and saying ridiculous things like she's always been better than he was, she always saw the things he couldn't, and it's basically, it comes across as completely out of place after the setup that they did put in, which was all legitimately fun to watch, meaningful to the story. It pushed things forward. Another little gripe from that middle scene there is I think they thought they were paying homage to the original, but her older brother, the war chief, gives out the iconic line, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." And I'm sorry, it just doesn't come the same way from 130-pound war chief, the same way it hits when Arnold says it in the original Predator movie, 265 and biceps like 28 inches around or something. It was kind of laughable. The Predator itself, it's getting mixed reviews and kind of fan circles from what I can see. I like the redesign. It still looks like the Predator with the mandibles and all kinds of, the funky shit going on with his face. Makes the same iconic Predator clicking sound, intimidating when it's cloaked. The cloak looked dope as shit, though. It gives off this crimson red effect as it's powering up and down, which I thought was pretty neat. The weaponry it brings, it was kind of cool. It was like tech down. People are saying it's to make it a more fair battle between Predator and Prey, and I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, he can still cloak, though. And as long as he can be invisible, what kind of advantage are we really playing at here? But he had a couple of a cool spear that broke in half into a couple of dual wielding mace kind of weapons. The plasma caster's out, replaced with kind of some like a shoulder mounted thing that still triggers from the laser targeting from the helmet, but instead it fires steel darts or something with pretty gruesome effect when it happened. So it was pretty cool to watch that. My favorite thing that it had, though, it had some kick-ass, it was like an Aztec inspired gauntlet mounted shield that kind of folded out into like a buckler sized kind of shield, which it used to deflect bullets and arrows and shit like that. So the Predator redesign was pretty cool. I didn't mind it. Some people didn't like it at all. I thought it was all right. But then the second half of the movie, this is what I wanted to get at before I dip out, and I want to see what you guys had to say about it. The second half kind of does turn on the Mary Sue a bit. Naru and her brother get out of a sticky situation in about the halfway point where they come across a French hunting party that are there skinning up buffaloes and doing all kinds of awful shit, and they all act like stereotypical colonizers, like they're all a bunch of dickbags. So when they get it, you don't care. They use one of the guys in the hunting party as the tie-in, and everybody knew this was coming. Everybody saw this coming when they were going prequel. One of the guys was what the hell was his name? Bandolini. It was basically the guy whose name was engraved on the flintlock pistol that the Predators gave Danny Glover's character Harrigan at the end of Predator 2, that he kind of tossed to and Harrigan walked away with. That guy was in the French hunting party, and he got all kinds of fucked ups. That was all right. But there's a point at which the main character, having escaped the midpoint kind of setup where the French trapping group is trying to catch the predator. She makes it back to their kind of camp, and in the attempt of rescuing her dog, somehow becomes some weird medley of like the bride and Sarah Connor and I don't know, Harley Quinn, and manages to just completely demolish like 6 or 7 like grown ass men with like knives and guns and hardened guys that have lived on the frontier and have seen combat and shit. It looks stylishly very cool, and I can say the same thing about the final battle with the predator at the end. Like, it was choreographed well and I did enjoy it, but in the back of my head I'm like, alright, so this would be the equivalent of like a 15-year-old girl with no hunting experience, sure, but like close quarter combat training, because she's like parrying shit and deflecting shit and it was like, you're not John Wick, you know what I mean? Like it just didn't add up in a couple of places. But again, because the movie gave me a little bit of setup at the beginning about how she was kind of hardy and kind of, you know, like ready to throw, because she did mix it up physically with one of the guys in the hunting party that her brother sent to bring her back after she went out alone. She actually kind of whooped his ass kind of handily, which was kind of funny. But there was just something about watching her just mow down like 6 straight dudes with like, you know, parries and deflections and dodges and evades and all kinds of crazy shit. Like it was a video game, and that's what they were going for. It was entertaining to watch, and like I said, because they had cool setup earlier, I don't really mind it as much. Like it's painful that I think this is one of those movies that once again is gonna come across like they marketed it for some woke bullshit that wasn't in it, but because people have been so burned out by that kind of shit in certain circles, like now we're just not gonna pay any kind of attention to these kind of films when they come out, just because the marketing lays it out there like it is. And like I said earlier, like you can put The Bride, you can put Sarah Connor, you can put Ripley, like the list is endless. Like dudes will go see these movies. Like nobody gives a shit what the main character's gender is or what color they are. You just got to have a legit story. And the reason I keep going back to the Sarah Connor thing, because that's my jam. That's what I got coming up in like, you know, the 90s and shit. Like people bought that version of Sarah Connor because they got to see her in Terminator being like a meek waitress. But even in that movie, she progressed through into being kind of a badass by the end, where she was trying to save Reese's life. And then you get her inpatient in a psych facility in T2, and they fill in the backstory of how she trained for Judgment Day and she became proficient in, you know, in close quarters combat and using firearms and explosives and, you know, like survivalist tactics and techniques. So it made sense. But to bring it back to this, I think this movie's not getting a fair shake in certain circles, and there's circles that I usually enjoy watching on YouTube, but lately, especially with this one, I think that we're coming down harder on things just as a function of the burnout that we've had over the last couple of years with projects like this, especially as they come out of Disney or Marvel and things like that. The final showdown, though, it was pretty cool to set up. They did take a page out of the original Predator movie, where obviously they weren't going to have this chick box straight up with the Predator, so she did kind of set up a trap. She did do a little hand-to-hand with the Predator, which was kind of silly and goofy. I mean, we did watch the Predator like fucking, I don't know, like uppercut punch a fucking grizzly bear into like unconsciousness earlier in the film, and she's in this one getting chokeslammed by the same Predator, and people are telling me, oh, it's because he was wounded. I'm like, nah. Dude, if something's 9 feet tall and weighs 800 pounds and chokeslams, it doesn't give a fuck if it's near death. Like, gravity does the job. But it got a little ridiculous at the end, and how she actually defeats the Predator. I had to watch it twice because it was kind of stupid, and it involved some weird shit with using the Predator's own tech against it, which I didn't really add up for me. A lot of other people giving it a pass. For me, it was just like, nope, this is where I'm getting off the free pass train here. But overall, like I said, I think the rating on IMDb is fair. It's about a 7.2 out of 10 at the time of this video. It's been chilling at about a 79-80% audience rating over on Rotten Tomatoes. If that's more of your cup of tea, you can go check out the reviews over there. Things seem to be skewed in the positive. So if you need something to watch this weekend, tonight, tomorrow morning, Sunday night, whatever, give Prey on Hulu a check out. I don't think you'd be disappointed. So let me know below what you guys thought, if you've seen it already. Would you want to see a follow-up in this time period? Would you want to see a different time period? Because that's one of the things that's dipping around online right now, is people are talking about this might be the new formula to reinvigorate the franchise, would be to put the Predator in different situations in different different periods of human history. And I'm thinking feudal Japan might be my jam. Like, if I was going to get my fanfic on, I think that's probably what I would do. I get this Ronin samurai vibe. I think it would fit pretty good with one-on-oneing a Predator. I'd have him fuck up all kinds of samurai first, but maybe get the one like the last guy, the older mentor coming out of retirement to take him down might work. But anyway, guys, let me know below if you've seen it, if you liked it, if you want more. Smash a like if you don't mind, I'd appreciate it. Maybe subscribe to the channel. Trying to get 20 by the end of the month, it'd be nice, I'd appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.